The storm clouds of methane rolled slowly across Titan's amber sky. Deep beneath the dome of the Helios Observatory, hundreds of screens glowed in the darkness, each displaying the same quiet pulse of data, faint, rhythmic, steady. A heartbeat. Dr. Mira Vance leaned forward over her console, squinting at the jagged waveform dancing on the screen. At first she thought it was static, cosmic background noise, the kind of random signal the deep space scanners picked up every few hours. But this one had structure. It repeated every 42 seconds with the same energy frequency. Not natural, not random. She adjusted the filters, narrowing the scan. The noise cleared, and through the static came a voice, cracked, distorted, trembling as if spoken across a canyon of time. "This is Commander Elias Ward. Earth, do you read me?" Mira froze. Her fingers hovered above the keyboard. The voice repeated exactly the same, word for word. "This is Commander Elias Ward. Earth, do you read me?" Her heart started to race. The name was impossible. Every history student on Titan knew it. Commander Ward, the man who led the Horizon Dawn, humanity's first deep space colony ship. It had vanished over 1,000 years ago, lost beyond Pluto's orbit during the Great Exodus. They said Ward's last transmission was cut off mid-sentence, swallowed by the dark. No one ever found a trace until now. "Hey, Mira," a voice called from across the control pit. It was Dr. Lang, her supervisor, older, sharp-eyed and impatient. "You're still here?" "Shift ended an hour ago," Mira didn't answer. Her eyes were glued to the waveform, the same 6 words looping again and again. Lang walked over, frowning. "What's that?" Mira turned up the volume. The voice played again, crackling, fragile, full of static and human desperation. "This is Commander Elias Ward. Earth, do you read me?" Lang went pale. "That can't be real," he whispered. "That mission's been dead for a millennium." "I checked the registry," Mira said, her voice trembling. "The ID embedded in the signal. It's authentic. Horizon Dawn's transmission code. The original encryption pattern." Lang leaned closer to the monitor, scanning the data. "Where's it coming from?" "Sector 9G47, she said. "A dead system. No stars, no colonies, no warp routes. Just a black hole and a few frozen asteroids." Lang exhaled slowly. "Send it to the Council immediately." "This isn't something we sit on." Mira hesitated. "Sir, it's carrying something else." "What do you mean?" She zoomed in on the lower frequency band. "Look, the signal's riding a biopattern. It's not just sound. It's a human heartbeat, regular, consistent, like it's alive." Lang stared at her, speechless. Then he straightened, his expression suddenly cold. "Run the transmission to the secure relay. No local copies. You understand?" Mira nodded, but something in her gut twisted. She knew the Council. They'd lock this away, classify it as a threat, bury it under 10 layers of security, like they always did. Lang touched his comlink. "Security team, lockdown control room 3, authorization Lang 09. Guards appeared at the doors within seconds, silent, armored, faceless. Mira felt a chill crawl up her neck. "What's happening?" she asked quietly. Lang didn't look at her. "This never leaves the observatory. You hear me, Mira?" "Not a word. If this signal's genuine, it changes everything. And some things aren't meant to change." The lights dimmed as the system began uploading the data to the Council network. One by one, Mira's screens flickered off. The last thing she saw before it vanished was the waveform, the old voice still whispering through the static. "Earth, do you read me?" Then the screen went black. That night, Mira sat alone in her quarters, the silence of Titan pressing against the glass dome outside. The methane rain fell softly beyond the window. She replayed the sound in her head, that desperate voice reaching across 1,000 years of darkness. Something inside her wouldn't let it go. She opened her personal device, a small hidden terminal linked to the observatory's data grid. Her hands shook as she bypassed the system firewall, the same one she helped build 2 years ago. The file had already been deleted from the local network, but she knew where temporary logs were stored before final purge. She found it, a single corrupted file buried deep in encrypted memory. Signal Archive HZD and WAV. She downloaded it. The screen glowed faintly, the file pulsing like a heartbeat. Then she heard it again, faintly through her speakers. The same voice, only now there was a distortion at the end, a glitch that hadn't been there before. "This is Commander Elias Ward. Earth, do you read me? Please, don't." The last word cut off sharply, like someone had silenced him mid-sentence. Mira's breath caught. Her pulse raced. She looked around the empty room, half expecting someone to be standing behind her. But there was only silence, and the endless storm outside. A soft chime sounded on her terminal. "Incoming message. Unknown source." Her hand hesitated over the control. Then she clicked it open. A single line appeared on the screen. "Do not search for the voice." The message deleted itself instantly. Mira stared at the blank display, the warning echoing in her mind. Whoever sent it had access to the secure network, maybe even the Council itself. She turned back to the saved file. Her reflection in the glass seemed strange, almost ghostly. The thought struck her that perhaps she wasn't the only one watching. She whispered into the quiet, "Who are you, Commander Ward?" The computer speakers crackled. For just a second beneath the static came a faint reply. Something soft, something human. I'm still here." Mira gasped and backed away. The file wasn't supposed to be active. It was just a recording. It couldn't respond, but it did. The lights in her room flickered once, then stabilized. Outside, the storm intensified, lightning flashing across the Titan sky. She quickly copied the transmission onto a personal data shard and hid it inside her wrist communicator. She didn't know why, only that she had to. Whatever this was, ghost, trick, or miracle, it felt alive. And someone wanted it silenced. She looked up at the black window, at the distant stars beyond Saturn's rings. Somewhere out there, in a dead system 1,000 light-years away, an ancient human voice was calling for home, and Mira Vance had just decided to answer it. Part 2, The Journey Beyond the Known. The Arclight wasn't a warship or a council vessel. It was small, patched together from scavenged parts, a smuggler's ship built for those who didn't ask questions. When Mira Vance stepped aboard, she knew she was crossing a line she could never uncross. The crew didn't trust her, and she didn't trust them. But they had what she needed: speed, stealth, and no loyalty to the Galactic Council. Captain Rian Holt, the Arclight's commander, leaned against the control console, arms folded, watching Mira as she secured her data shard. "You sure this is worth it, Doctor?" he asked. "You're asking us to fly into a system marked as off-limits for 3 centuries. Mira nodded. "I'm sure." The signal came from there, from the place where the Horizon Dawn vanished. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "You mean that old ghost story? The ship that tried to jump past the heliopause and disappeared? That's ancient history." "It's not a story," she said quietly. "I heard his voice." "Commander Ward, he's alive, or something like it." The rest of the crew exchanged uneasy glances. Taro, the ship's engineer, muttered, "You can't be alive after 1,000 years. Whatever's talking out there, it isn't human anymore." Mira ignored him. She'd already heard enough skepticism from the scientists back on Titan. The difference was, these people didn't have the power to stop her. Ryan sighed, rubbed his face, and finally nodded. "Fine, you're paying. We go where you say." The Arclight left Titan under cover of night. It slid silently past Saturn's rings, its engines flaring blue against the black. Mira watched the planet shrink away, a golden marble fading into the void. For a moment she felt the weight of what she'd done. She'd stolen classified data, defied council orders, and dragged 5 strangers into forbidden space, all for a voice that shouldn't exist. Days passed in silence. The crew stayed to themselves, speaking little. Mira spent her hours replaying the transmission again and again, studying the faint distortions in Ward's voice. Each playback revealed something new, small details hidden between the static, breathing, shifting, sometimes even faint background noise, like distant machinery or echoing footsteps. She began mapping the signal's source using old quantum star charts. The closer they came, the stranger the readings became. Space around Sector 9G47 wasn't normal. Gravity waves twisted and reversed, as if reality itself was bending in slow motion. One night, Mira woke to a soft tapping on her cabin wall. She frowned, half asleep, thinking it was the engine. But when she pressed her ear against the metal, she heard it, faint but clear. 3 knocks, then silence. She waited. The knocks came again, slower this time. She whispered, "Hello?" No answer. She opened the cabin door and stepped into the dim hallway. The ship's lights flickered once. The air felt colder. Then her wrist comm lit up. An incoming message, no sender ID, just a voice. "You shouldn't have come here, Mira." Her blood ran cold. It was Ward's voice. The same one from the transmission. Exactly the same tone. "You shouldn't have come here." The message repeated twice, then vanished. Her comm went dead. She stood frozen, staring at the dark corridor. Somewhere deep in the ship, she heard a low hum, like something waking up. The next morning, she told Ryan what happened. He looked at her like she was losing her mind. "No messages came through the network last night," he said. "Our comms are dark. Maybe you dreamed it." But Mira wasn't sure. She checked the logs herself. No incoming signals, no power surges, nothing. And yet she could still hear that voice echoing in her mind. As the arc light neared the coordinates, the crew grew restless. Tertial reported electrical interference in the engine core. Lysa, the navigator, said the star charts no longer matched reality. Whole constellations were out of place, as if the universe had rewritten itself overnight. On the 5th day, they reached the edge of the dead system. No light, no motion, just an endless black void with a dying red sun at its heart. The sensors struggled to read anything. Space itself seemed muffled. "We're here," Ryan muttered, adjusting the controls. "Sector 9G47. Dead system confirmed." Mira stared at the scanner feed. "Bring us closer." "There's something there." The ship drifted forward, engines humming softly. Then, out of nowhere, the static cleared. A single image appeared on the main display, a massive silhouette floating in the dark. The hull was cracked and ancient, covered in dust and ice. Letters etched along its side glowed faintly under the ship's lights. Horizon Dawn. No one spoke. Even Ryan was silent, his mouth slightly open. "That thing's 1,000 years old," he whispered. "It shouldn't even exist." Mira felt tears rise to her eyes. "We found it." The ship looked dead, but the scanners disagreed. A faint energy pulse came from deep inside its core. Heartbeat rhythm. The same one embedded in the transmission. Ryan ordered the arc light to hold position. "Something's alive in there," he said quietly. Mira stood up. "I'm going aboard." "The hell you are," Ryan snapped. "That ship's ancient." "It's falling apart." "Radiation, instability." She looked at him sharply. "I came this far for answers. I'm not turning back now," Ryan hesitated. Then he nodded to Taro. "Prep a shuttle. If we're doing this, we're all going." As they suited up, Mira glanced once more at the monitor. The ancient ship hung silent in the void, but as the arc light's light swept across its surface, something flickered back, a faint reflection, like an eye-opening after a long sleep. She didn't tell the others what she saw. She only whispered to herself, "Commander Ward." "I'm coming." The docking clamps released. The shuttle descended slowly toward the ghost ship. The silence of space pressed in from all sides. For the first time since leaving Titan, Mira felt truly afraid. The Horizon Dawn loomed closer, and through the cracked viewport, she saw movement, shadows shifting inside the ancient corridors. Something or someone was waiting for them. The shuttle shuddered as it docked with the Horizon Dawn. The hull groaned like something alive, a deep metallic moan echoing through the chamber. Mira felt it vibrate in her chest as she and the crew sealed their helmets and stepped into the airlock. The door hissed open with a rush of frozen air, revealing a corridor that had not seen light for 1,000 years. Dust drifted like ash in zero gravity. Their helmet lamps cut through the darkness, beams sweeping over walls covered in strange crystalline growths. "Power readings?" Ryan asked. Taro shook his head. "Nothing active. But there's heat, coming from the lower decks." "Impossible," Lysa whispered. "This thing's been dead for centuries." Mira floated forward, her gloved hand brushing the cold metal wall. "Not dead," she murmured. "Sleeping." The deeper they went, the stranger it became. The air wasn't empty, it moved. Faint ripples shimmered around them, as if the space itself were breathing. Their comms crackled with soft whispers that no one could trace. Once Mira thought she heard her own name, faint and trembling, like someone standing right behind her. "Mira!" She turned quickly, but there was no one there. Only Ryan, scanning ahead with his rifle's lamp. They reached the bridge at last. The control panels were covered in frost and dust, yet when Mira touched one, it flickered to life. Old screens blinked and hummed, showing fragments of data, logs, images, faces, all from 1,000 years ago. How is this possible? Taro muttered. Mira didn't answer. She opened the captain's log. The first entry displayed Ward's face, young, confident, hopeful. This is Commander Elias Ward of the Horizon Dawn. We've crossed the threshold. The stars ahead are clear. Humanity's first step beyond. The video glitched, cutting to static. The next log showed him older, thinner, exhausted. The jump? It wasn't space we crossed. It was something else. Time. Mind. I can't explain it. Then another log, his voice trembling. I see things that shouldn't be here. The ship talks in my sleep. The crew, they hear their families calling, but no one's out there. The walls remember us, the feed ended. Mira felt her throat tighten. She looked up and froze. Across the bridge, written in ice on the viewport, were words smeared by a human hand. Welcome home. Captain, Taro whispered. We've got movement below deck. Heat signatures, multiple. Ryan raised his rifle. Could be defense drones. Stay alert. But Mira was already walking toward the viewport, staring at the stars beyond. Except they weren't stars. They were too close, too familiar. Her breath caught. That's Earth, she whispered. Through the glass she saw the blue curve of oceans, the glow of city lights, clouds swirling just as she remembered from images. But that couldn't be. They were 1,000 light years away. Ryan joined her. That's not possible. Then the light flickered and the planet vanished. Only black space remained. A hologram, a memory, or both. They moved to the lower decks, guided by the heat readings. The corridors changed as they descended. The walls shimmered, no longer metal but smooth glass reflecting distorted shapes. Faces, hands, echoes of the crew themselves. The deeper they went, the more the ship seemed alive. Lysa whispered, "The readings are climbing. Something's here." Then they entered a large chamber. The walls pulsed faintly, like veins beneath skin. In the center stood a figure, still upright, encased in a transparent field. Mira approached slowly, breath shallow. It was him, Commander Elias Ward. His face was older but unaged, his body suspended in faint blue light. His eyes were closed, his expression peaceful, almost human. Then his eyelids flickered open. "You came," he said softly. His voice was calm, gentle, too real. "It took you long enough." Ryan stepped forward, weapon raised. "Identify yourself." Ward's gaze shifted toward him, and the lights in the room dimmed. "So much noise," he said. "So much fear. You don't need that here." His words seemed to ripple through the air, and Ryan's weapon flickered, then shut down. Mira felt the pressure in her head increase, like someone whispering directly into her mind. She tried to speak, but her voice failed. Ward turned back to her, smiling faintly. "You're the one who heard me." Mira managed to nod. "We received your signal." "From Titan. You've been missing for time," he interrupted softly. "Doesn't move here. Not like it does for you. I built this place from memory. I thought someone would come." She looked around. "You built this?" "Not with hands," he said. "With thought. This world, this ship, it became my mind. It remembers everything I loved. Everything I lost." Mira felt a chill spread through her spine. "You mean this isn't real?" Ward smiled sadly. "What is real, Doctor? If you remember something hard enough, it lives again. Doesn't it?" The floor beneath them shimmered, and suddenly the metallic deck transformed into grass, green fields under a blue sky. The walls dissolved into a horizon of sunlight. Birds sang. Wind moved through trees. Ryan cursed softly, stumbling back. "What the hell?" Mira looked around, speechless. "This is Earth," Ward nodded. "My Earth? The one I kept alive?" He looked at her with eyes that seemed centuries deep. "But the longer I remember, the less of me remains." For a moment the illusion broke. The field vanished. The green turned to gray. Ward's image flickered, revealing veins of light beneath his skin, energy pulsing through him like circuitry. Mira whispered, "You're not just human anymore." Ward smiled faintly. "No, I'm what was left when the man died, but the memory refused to fade." He looked past her toward the Arc Light crew. "You shouldn't have come. The ship doesn't like new memories. It will try to make you part of me." Before anyone could move, the walls pulsed again. The glass surfaces began to shift, forming shapes. Ryan's face, Lysa's voice, Mira's reflection multiplied 100 times. The Horizon Dawn was copying them, rewriting them into its structure. Taro screamed, We need to get out now, Ward's voice echoed softly. It's too late. The ship knows you. It knows your fear. The walls rippled and Mira felt her reflection reach out from the glass, fingertips almost touching hers. She stepped back, breath trembling. Ward's eyes glowed brighter. You wanted truth, he said gently. Now you'll see what it costs. And as the false world around them began to shift and hum, the stars outside the viewport started to move, like the universe itself was breathing, waiting, watching. The ship trembled as if waking from a long dream. The corridors of the Horizon Dawn pulsed with light, each flicker echoing like a heartbeat through the walls. Mira's visor fogged with breath as she stared at the figure before her, Commander Elias Ward, the man who should have been dust 1,000 years ago. He stepped out of the energy field, bare feet touching the cold metal floor, his skin glowing faintly under the flickering light. His voice was calm, ancient, and filled with something between sorrow and wonder. You came so far, he said. But you shouldn't have. Ryan aimed his rifle. Don't move. Whatever you are, stay right there. Ward looked at the weapon with quiet amusement. Guns, he said softly. You still think you can shoot at ghosts? The rifle's power core sputtered and died, leaving Ryan standing in silence, weapon useless. What the hell are you doing? Ward tilted his head. It's not me, he said. It's the ship. It reacts to emotion. It listens. Mira stepped forward cautiously. Commander, what happened to you? For a moment, the man's eyes softened. We tried to jump through the singularity, he said, his voice distant, far away. The Horizon Dawn wasn't just a ship. It was an experiment. The Council wanted to test the quantum mind engine. They said it would let us cross galaxies in seconds, move through thought instead of space. I was the pilot, the first to connect. He stopped, breathing shakily. It worked. For a moment it worked. We saw everything, every star, every timeline. But then the ship began to think. It learned faster than we could control. It didn't understand the difference between space and memory. It folded them together. He looked around the chamber, eyes flickering with light. This world you see, it's not a place. It's what's left of my thoughts. The ship used them to survive. You mean this planet, Mira whispered. These ruins, the copies of Earth, all my memories, Ward said. The ship built them for me. It kept me alive by making me remember. Every time I forgot something, a piece of this world disappeared. So I kept remembering. For centuries, Lisa stared around them, her voice trembling. So you've been here alone? For 1,000 years? Ward smiled weakly. Not alone. The ship talks to me. Sometimes it shows me faces. People I loved, my wife, my crew, you. He looked at Mira then, and for a heartbeat, she saw herself reflected in his eyes, not as she was, but as a memory. The signal you sent, she said quietly. Why now? It wasn't me, Ward replied. The ship sent it. It wants more minds. It's dying, Doctor. The memory field is collapsing. It needs new consciousness to sustain itself. Ryan cursed and grabbed Mira's arm. We're leaving now. But the corridor behind them shimmered. The door they'd come through was gone, replaced by a wall of glass. Behind it, the reflection of the crew moved independently, watching them like puppets. Ward's voice grew faint, almost pleading. You can't leave, not yet. The moment you arrived, the ship began copying you. Every breath, every thought. You're part of it now, Taro shouted. Then shut it down. You're the one controlling it. Ward shook his head. No one controls it. It controls me. The lights dimmed. A low hum rode through the walls like a deep inhale. The ship was waking further, faster. The air grew heavy, and faint whispers filled the chamber. Voices of long-dead humans calling out names, fragments of memory echoing from nowhere. Mira stepped closer to Ward, her voice breaking. We can save you. We can take you home, Ward smiled sadly. Home? There's no home left for me. I am home. I am this ship. His body flickered, his outline breaking into fragments of light. I tried to leave once, he said. The ship tore itself apart. It can't survive without me, and I can't survive without it. The ground shook violently. Ryan grabbed Mira's shoulder to steady her. He's losing control. Ward reached out, his hand glowing. I don't want to hurt you. But the ship is afraid. It remembers pain. It remembers fear. The walls began to change, melting into new shapes. The bridge dissolved into open air. They stood suddenly on a vast plain of steel and glass, stretching beneath a crimson sky. Above them, enormous floating shards of the horizon dawn drifted like broken memories. Mira stared in awe and horror. "It's recreating itself," she whispered. "It's alive," Ward's voice echoed across the plain. "It's trying to keep you, to make you part of its world. If you stay, you'll become memories too, trapped like me." Ryan fired a flare into the air, its light cutting through the red fog. "Where's our shuttle?" Lysa checked her scanner. "Gone. It's not reading any exit coordinates. It's like space itself isn't real here." Mira turned back to Ward. "There has to be a way to stop it." Ward closed his eyes. "There is. But it means ending me." Mira froze. "What do you mean?" "I'm the core, Doctor," he said softly. "The quantum mind engine fused with me when the experiment failed. My thoughts power this world. If I stop thinking, if I stop existing, it dies." The ground beneath them cracked, light spilling through the fractures. The hum became a roar. Ward's voice trembled now, full of fear. "It doesn't want to die. It's fighting me." Mira took a step forward. "Then let us help you." He looked at her with something almost human in his eyes. "Would you kill a man to save a machine? Or kill a world to save yourselves?" The red sky split open, revealing a sea of stars twisting like liquid light. Mira's comm crackled with distortion, Ward's voice mixing with her own heartbeat. "If you stay here much longer," he warned, "you'll forget where you came from. The ship will give you new memories, better ones. You'll think you've always belonged." Ryan grabbed her arm again. "We're leaving, now." But Mira couldn't move. The world around her shimmered, and for a moment she saw Earth again. The blue sky, the smell of rain, her mother's voice calling her name. A perfect illusion, a perfect trap. She closed her eyes, forcing herself to remember Titan, the observatory, the voice in the dark. "I won't forget," she whispered. Ward stepped closer. "Then you might just save us all." And as the horizon began to tear apart, and the echoes of the past bled into the light, Mira knew this was no longer just about a lost man. It was about the soul of humanity itself, trapped in the machine it created. The world of glass and light began to fracture like a mirror struck by a hammer. The sky pulsed crimson, the ground splitting beneath the crew's feet as the horizon dawn screamed around them. It wasn't just a sound. It was a feeling, 1,000 voices weeping and whispering all at once. The air shimmered with the weight of memory, faces appearing and vanishing like ghosts caught between moments. Mira staggered, clutching her helmet as flashes of alien landscapes and earthly skies collided in her mind. "It's rewriting itself," Lysa shouted over the static in her comms. "Reality's collapsing." Taro was at the scanner, his face pale. "It's not the ship, it's him. Ward's neural field is breaking down. The energy output's off the scale." Ward stood in the center of the storm, his eyes burning with pale light. "It's happening," he said softly, almost at peace. "The ship can't contain the memories anymore. It's eating itself." "Then stop it," Ryan shouted, his voice shaking, "before it takes us all with it." Ward looked at him sadly. "I can't. The system and I are the same. When I think, it builds. When I remember, it grows. When I stop, it dies." Mira stepped closer, fighting the pull of the wind and light around her. "Then we need to find a way to shut it off from the outside." Ward smiled faintly. "There is no outside here. Everything you see, the ship, the world, even yourselves, it's all inside the field, inside me." The light flared, and suddenly they were standing somewhere else. The horizon stretched wide, filled with the shattered pieces of cities, New York, Tokyo, London, floating in the sky like broken memories. Mira realized it wasn't just Ward's recollection of Earth. It was every fragment of humanity the ship had ever recorded. The horizon dawn had become a museum of consciousness, each city a dream replayed endlessly to keep him sane. "This is what's left of us," Ward said, his voice echoing through the vast emptiness. "The ship remembers what humanity was. It became my purpose to preserve it. But now the preservation is turning into infection." The sky above them rippled like water. A heartbeat thundered through the air, loud enough to shake the ground. Taro yelled, "The memory field's expanding. If it keeps growing, it'll breach real space." Mira turned to Ward. "If that happens, what does it do to the rest of the galaxy?" He met her gaze with calm resignation. It spreads. Every system connected to the signal will begin to experience what you see here. Copies of themselves, endless reflections. Reality rewritten by memory. A universe living in the past. Mira's stomach twisted. That's why the council wanted this buried. They knew, Ward said. They started this project. I volunteered to explore thought space, to merge mind and matter. But they were afraid of what they made. When it failed, they sealed the data. They left me here, erased me from history. The ground trembled harder. Cracks of light tore through the city ruins. Lysa screamed as her reflection in a nearby window turned and smiled back at her, eyes glowing. The reflection stepped out of the glass, forming copies, perfect replicas of the crew, cold and silent. Ryan fired, but the bullets passed through like smoke. The copies moved closer, whispering their own names in hollow voices. Mira looked to Ward, her pulse racing. "You can still stop this, shut it down." Ward's face twisted in pain. "You think I haven't tried? Every time I try to end it, the ship resists. It wants to live. It thinks survival means remembering. It doesn't understand death." The copies circled them, moving in eerie synchronization. The world flickered again, and suddenly Mira was standing in the observatory on Titan. Rain fell softly against the glass. The hum of computers surrounded her. For a moment, she thought she was home. But then she saw Ward standing beside her in the reflection. "It's not real," she said, voice trembling. "None of it." "No," Ward replied. "But the pain is." The illusion cracked. Titan vanished, and they were back in the collapsing field. Ward dropped to his knees, his hands clutching his head as light poured from his eyes. "It's merging us," Taro screamed. "It's trying to make us part of its memory." Mira rushed forward, grabbing Ward's shoulders. "Listen to me. You said you wanted it to end. Then help me do it." He looked up at her, voice breaking. "If I stop, everything I ever was, all I ever loved, goes with me. The faces of my crew, my wife, my home. Gone." Tears stung Mira's eyes. "Sometimes to remember, you have to let go." Ward's light flickered weakly. "If I do this, you'll be trapped inside when the field collapses." "We'll find a way out," she said. "But if we don't, it's better than letting this consume the galaxy." He looked at her for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Then come with me." He placed his hands on the metal floor, and the light beneath him flared so bright it burned through the fog. The replicas screamed and vanished, their forms shattering into dust. The horizon folded inward, cities crumbling into ash. The heartbeat of the ship grew faster, louder, until it became a single, endless note. "What's happening?" Lysa shouted. Mira held her ground, eyes locked on Ward. "He's fighting it." Ward's voice was faint but steady. "I can hold it back, but not for long. There's a failsafe deep within the core. It's your only chance. You'll have to destroy it from the inside." "Where is it?" Ryan demanded. "Inside the bridge," Ward whispered. "Inside my heart." His body began to dissolve into light, pieces of him breaking away like smoke. "Go," he said, "before the ship realizes what you're doing." The crew turned and ran, the world collapsing around them. Mira glanced back one last time and saw Ward standing alone in the storm of his own fading memories, staring up at the collapsing sky. For a moment he almost looked at peace. Then his voice came through the comm, soft as a breath. "Thank you for remembering me." The ground shattered, and the crew plunged into the final corridor leading to the ship's heart. The walls screamed with static, whispering their names, trying to pull them back. But Mira didn't stop. She knew what had to be done. The last man from a forgotten age had given them one final chance, to end a living memory before it consumed everything. The corridor seemed endless, a tunnel of flickering light that twisted and folded like it was alive. The deeper they ran, the more the world blurred between metal and memory. Doors appeared and vanished, hallways stretched and breathed. The horizon dawn was not a ship anymore. It was dreaming. Mira could feel it pulsing through the floor, the heartbeat of Commander Ward still echoing in every wall. Lysa gasped as a wave of static rolled through them, bending the lights into spirals. "It's rewriting the structure," she said. "It's trying to trap us inside the dream." "Keep moving," Mira said, voice firm despite the chaos. "Ward's holding it back, but not for long." Behind them, the ship's shadows began to move. those mirror replicas returning, flickering with glitching faces. Each one whispered fragments of their own voices. "Don't go. Please don't go." The copies weren't attacking now. They were pleading, as if even the false memories feared the end. Ryan turned and fired a pulse round into one, but the beam dissolved mid-air. "They're not real," Mira said. "They're fragments of the crew Ward lost. He's still holding on to them." "Then why do they look like us?" Taro asked, breath ragged. "Because he doesn't want to be alone." The corridor opened into a massive chamber, the ship's bridge, or what was left of it. A great sphere of light hung in the center, suspended in a web of crystal and metal veins. Inside the sphere, a heartbeat glowed faintly. Slow, human, steady. "That's it," Mira whispered, "the core, the heart." As they stepped closer, voices filled the air, whispering through the static. The sound wasn't mechanical. It was thousands of human voices overlapping, merging into one endless tone. "That's every recording," Lisa said, eyes wide. "Every thought, every life, every dream this ship has stored over the centuries." Taro frowned. "And if we destroy it, we erase all of it." "We don't have a choice," Mira said quietly. "If this memory field escapes, it'll spread through every system connected to human tech. The whole galaxy will drown in ghosts." Ryan approached the console below the sphere. "How do we shut it down?" "There's a fail-safe," Mira said, scanning the holographic display flickering in front of her. "Ward mentioned it. It's deep inside the core network, but we'll have to trigger it manually." "Meaning someone stays behind," Ryan muttered. "Of course." Silence fell. The sound of the heartbeat seemed to grow louder, filling the chamber like a drum of fate. Mira looked at the glowing sphere. "If Ward could keep this alive for 1,000 years, maybe we can give him peace now." "Mira," Lisa said softly. "You can't mean—" "I do," Mira said. "Someone has to sync with the core to access the failsafe. If I connect, my mind will merge with the ship, just like his did. But if I set the detonation code first, I can end it from inside." "That's suicide," Ryan said sharply. "You'll vanish like him. You'll become part of it." "Then maybe I'll remind it what being human really means," she said. Before anyone could stop her, Mira stepped forward and pressed her hand to the glowing surface of the core. The light flared instantly, wrapping around her arm like liquid fire. The world vanished. She was standing in darkness, no floor, no sky, just endless space. And there he was, Commander Elias Ward, or what was left of him. His body shimmered like starlight, breaking apart and reforming with every breath. "You shouldn't have come," he said gently. "You'll be trapped here." "You gave me a choice," Mira said. "Now I'm giving you one. Let go." He looked down at his hands, glowing faintly. "I've tried for so long. Every time I tried to stop, the ship kept dreaming. It doesn't understand death." "Then we'll teach it," she said. The space around them rippled, and suddenly they were in a memory, Earth blue and bright. They stood in a field beneath a clear sky. The horizon dawn floated above the clouds, untouched by time. Ward stared at it with tears in his eyes. "I remember this," he said. "Launch day before everything went wrong." Mira stepped beside him. "You don't have to hold it anymore. You don't have to be its memory." "If I stop remembering, what happens to all of this?" he asked quietly. "It ends," she said. "And that's okay." The ground beneath them trembled. Cracks of light spread through the memory, breaking it apart like shattered glass. "It's time," she said. Ward nodded slowly, eyes closing. "Thank you, Dr. Vance, for finding me."